in time, no dark money whispers, no backroom deals, daylight choices, and the truth that's real. Labels don't own us, we bigger than size. Accountability lives where democracy thrives.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard, we don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future, united we found. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first, let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future, united we
Clear
found.
facts, no spin. Education unlocked, breaking down the process from the door to the box. Who earns the trust? Who shows up to serve? Asking the questions. Leaders got nerves. Neighborhoods talking. Town halls packed. Local voices first. And we built it like that. Different faiths fused, so walking as one. Democracy stronger when we all get it done. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard, we don't play no games. From coast to coast, let the movement expand. Power in the people, future in our hands. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about.
This ain't no cycle. Nah, this is a standard. Long-term vision. Principles planned from schools to the boards up to the higher seats. We connect the dots from the block to the streets. Peaceful power, respect and demand. Integrity measured by actions, not plans. OVC active, participation mounts. When the people stand ready, turnout counts. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard, we don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future, united we found. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first, let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future, united we found.
Every voice.
Every voice,
Every vote.
every vote,
Integrity, inclusion, accountability. OVC.
OVC.
Yeah. 2026. My vote counts. And so does yours.
And power to the people. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to make the C. Y'all know, I've talked about this. Me and my neurodivergence. I'm a little, but welcome everyone. Welcome in. We'll get started shortly. Momentarily. In a minute. It would really help me if I could get my intros in a convenient location. My intros and outros. Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome in to Our Vote Counts OVC TikTok Live Town Hall. Tonight we're speaking with a candidate from the great state of Kentucky. Kentucky. I've never been. Oh, I take that back. I have been to Kentucky. Briefly. Apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but the Cincinnati airport, the Cincinnati, Ohio airport is in the state of Kentucky. Ooh, yay. And so I was in the Cincinnati airport, but I was in Kentucky. So that's where I was. I said I was in Cincinnati. I was in Kentucky. Mr. Drew is here. Mr. Drew. Oh.
Hey,
Hi, Drew. How are you?
doing well. I have tried for 2 days to figure out how to get green screens to work.
I don't want to hear that.
Um,
I don't want to hear that, Drew. I don't like to
yeah,
hear that. I don't want to hear it. I don't. Because what I know about you, Drew, is that you are a winner.
yeah.
And
No, I'm
green
trying.
screens.
Hmm.
Drew, I don't want to hear I'm trying. I want to hear I did it.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Relax.
oh, I found it.
Did you think I was serious? You can relax.
No,
It's
but I
okay.
did find this. Let's see if I can reposition
See,
myself.
I'm smiling and laughing while I'm saying these things to you.
I found this, but doesn't put me below it. I need to move
Oh,
it
you
up.
got it. What are you talking about? You
Yeah.
did it. What do you
Well,
mean?
so when I went to TikTok Live and set the effects, the picture option wasn't an option. I only had like 6 options, and I watched like 4 videos going back, but they're all from like 2024, and all the updates look different. So I was like, okay, I will try to figure this out better. I didn't have TikTok until I started running for office, so
You know what,
just
Drew? I
trying
think you're
to.
one of those people who's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just my first day here. And then you
No,
like
I just
master
needed it.
everything within the first 10 minutes. Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't even know it could do that. Oh, I'm new. You can't fool me, Drew. You can't. You cannot fool me.
I appreciate that. Yeah, just talking to Justin Anda. Yeah, every video I watched, all of them had different, like, this is how it works, and every video looks different. I'm like, well, this is a crazy app in that regard.
It is crazy and it changes all the time. And there's an update every single day. So if you
Yeah,
come here and you don't know how to do things, we'll walk you through it. We walk you through it. Not me, because I'm mean. Anyway, Drew, how are you? What does your shirt say?
Oh, I just got this shirt today from my branding person. This says I'm running for Congress. Let's chat. And then this little thing is like a patch. It says "We the People." Like when you have the race car drivers that have all the people who own them
Yeah.
on it. It says "We the People" on it, and on the back, you probably can't read it really well, but it
What's
says
your
"What's
political
hot take?"
I
And it says
like that. I want one of those.
and
Except
it
mine
says
would
"From
say,
your future congressman"
yeah,
on it, and then
oh,
this is my logo, so I got a little shoulder patch too. My problem is like when I go to Walmart or like Dollar General and I'm walking around, like I feel like I could be talking to people, you know.
yeah.
But just having my logo on my shirt or wearing my vest that has my logo on it doesn't really invite people to come talk to me.
See,
Um,
that's why you should not go to those places. You should go to places where perhaps they might be a little bit more friendly to someone who's wearing a I'm running for Congress vest.
Yeah, well,
Really,
this is
Drew?
new. Well, I just meant this is brand new. I just got this today. So I just meant I've been at the store and like I've been like I know I could probably get like 2 people to talk to me while I'm getting milk, right? And I'm just trying to take as many opportunities as possible to meet people where they are
Right.
and have those conversations. And so I've had a lot of really good luck in public spaces. I go to a lot of churches. I go to like the grocery stores, like the locally owned grocery stores, and like set up
Hmm.
tables. And so that's been really profitable in terms of that kind of communication. So I was just like, well, let's just push it, right? And so I just got this. I thought I'd showcase it here. Um,
You may have gone one step too far there, Drew. One step too far. It's okay. You tried. You tried. I like that. I like the font. I
yeah,
love that font. I love that.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, my the branding
Yeah.
lady I use is she's very particular about all of it. So,
Y'all hear
um,
that? Drew got brand and lady money.
yeah,
Yeah, some of these candidates are, we talk to candidates about fundraising and they're like, yeah, the candidate we just talked to, he was like, yeah, we got like 5 cents.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
it's it's hard to get when you're grassroots. It's really hard to get. I don't know. It's hard to get the national party behind you. It's hard to get
Sure.
somebody other than your grandma to give you $5. So
It's felt pretty decent. Of course, I'm running against James Comer, so there's a lot of federal engagement that feels a little bit more apt, even though this is a pretty much a 75-25 district Republican. But it's been very. I've had a very warm reception from a lot of people who can't handle what's going on right now, both locally and then being able to translate that into some fundraising and some more not national attention, but at least regional attention. Kentucky's starting to pay a lot more consideration to my race. Usually we're focused a lot more on the Golden Triangle of Lexington, Louisville, and Covington, which are a little bit more blue. And
So tell the people the good news. I saw this on your social media. I was like, whoa, he don't even really need to be here. He can come back later. Tell the people the good news.
So January 9th, during the filing deadline, I'm the Democratic candidate. I appreciate it. I've been running since May of last year, and I had a bunch of conversations with other people who were interested in running, and they were asking how it was going. And obviously, I was happy to have people in the primary and to support the candidate who won, if there was one. But thankfully, the more we talked and I got to know people that were interested, they were like, "No, you seem like a really good candidate for this moment." A lot of people were older or had like traveling needs, and my district's really, really wide. I actually have an entire other district in the center of my district. It scales up and around. Yeah. We call it the dragon's tail or the scorpion's tail, in the way that it has all of Western Kentucky, and then it dips down along the base of Tennessee and then curves back up to the capital. So I have the capital in my county or in my district, but I don't have Bowling Green or Elizabethtown. So it's really weird in that regard.
Wow. So you essentially had people who were like, you know what? I'm not going to run. I'm going to throw all of my support to you.
Yeah,
is that what happened?
Or at least they realized like the distance that it was going to take. Like, I mean, I've already put like 27,000 miles on my car, right? Because I had to drive like 2 hours through.
Yeah, I saw you lost a tire or something.
Yeah. I had to change 2 tires that day. They were like, the other one's about to blow. So I was like, well, let's just change those. But yeah, it was like 26,000 miles. I lost a tire.
Wow, but that's what running for office is about. You got to be the one that's willing to go the distance to do all the hard work. And that's the person we want. The person who really is dedicated to it, who's not just kind of casually showing up like, hey, I'm running for Congress. Hey, what's happening?
Yeah,
no, you're out there. You're traveling the district. You're talking to people. You got shirts made. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I have 35 counties. I've been to all 35 of my counties already.
Wow.
And so we're going to host 100 town halls this year. I've been watching Rob Sand, who's running for governor in Iowa. He's the state auditor right now, and he does 100 town halls a year. And I was like, that's a fantastic idea. I got 35 counties. That's almost 3 in every county. And so we're going to do that. And then I had gone to a domestic abuse survivors forum, and the way that they had organized that forum, where like the elected representatives and the police chief and all that, we were sitting in the back with like notepads, and they had a moderator and some people that were obviously survivors of interpersonal conflict that were like giving their testimony about what worked and what didn't work. And I was like, we need to do this for like every type of person. Where it's not about you asking me questions, we're asking the audience that comes questions about how we can better support them. And so I think that's going to result in some positive outcomes and bringing people to the table that maybe wouldn't normally be a part of the conversation we're having here politically. But Kentucky just we're about to pass a bill that's going to cap public employee healthcare employer buy-in, so everybody's going to get like a $500 a month increase to their healthcare costs.
Get out of town.
For all of our public employees.
Wow.
And so we're going to try to have a forum, obviously, and not like play up on it, but like hear about like what other struggles are keeping people from becoming teachers or becoming police officers, in the way that like we can help support our communities, because it seems like every time you have one of those jobs, like it becomes less and less worth it. And then you get the lower standards to get enough people in, and then everybody complains about the system not working, and it's like it compounds. And, we don't
Right.
see it because it's drawing up a long-term conversation in the way that it punishes those systems. And so just trying to be here for people and make sure that they feel that we're trying to advocate
Heard.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and your job that you're running for, it's your job to bring the money back to your district for the
Yeah.
projects that uplift your community. And so you have to know what people need.
Yeah.
And you can only know that if you talk to them, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. You can only know what your community needs if you talk to the people, if you talk to the small business owners, you talk to the school teachers, local law enforcement, if you talk to the blue collar workers, the white collar workers, you have to know what they need. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm not a farmer, so like a lot of the times when we do like our meet and greets and whatnot, I run into people who are farmers, and I'm like, oh great, I found another one. You need to tell me something. You know what I mean? Because like we're like
right.
we're in the top like 15 for farming districts every year, in terms of like size and growth there. So like trying to make sure that both the issues that have been historically going on, right, are tackled, but also like there's new things. I mean, we have new tech every year, and we have new considerations. And so like I'm like, what do you deal with? Because I have no idea. I'm a construction worker. So like I understand, input prices for material, but like I'm not dealing with animals, and I'm not dealing with crops.
Right.
And those things are a lot more fluid and deal with, a lot more weather concerns and international concerns than me doing construction work. So the only time that affects me is, I build boat docks. So like, it's like more lower middle classes income to high income people. So like I've noticed, there's been a slowdown in people buying what I sell. Because that even the middle to, roughly not like your 1%ers, but like your 25%ers, they're not buying those kinds of items anymore. They're not buying $100,000 boat garage for their.
You're right.
For their
I
house.
totally put my plans for a $100,000 boat on hold because of the economy.
Yeah. So it's interesting to note that like even people who are kind of like high up in our communities, are feeling the squeeze of what's happening right now. And
But
so
are they willing to change their politics to do something about it? Is the question, Mr. Drew.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I really enjoy hitting the angle of a more progressive tax policy, obviously. And so I'd like to enact a $100,000 federal income tax exemption instead of this $15,000 federal income tax
hold
exemption.
hold that thought,
Yeah, go
Mr.
for it.
Drew. Hold that thought. We have been sitting here talking, and I have a job to do, and I have forgotten all about it. I'm supposed
It's
to be
okay.
doing introductions and bios and telling you who we are. And okay, you guys in the audience, you've been having fun watching us chat. Please continue to like the live. Send your daily heart me if you haven't already. We were here before, so if you were here before and you already did that, then you don't have to do that. But also share the live. Drew, did you share the live with your followers? Did you let people know that you're here?
Is this button here, isn't it?
Yep. Share it out. Send some likes. Support Mr. Drew. You heard him. He's a construction worker, and he needs more t-shirts made. We like those
Yep.
t-shirts. Come on. Also, when you're in the audience, and if you have a question for Drew, you can come up, hit the multi-guest. You know how that works. Or you can leave your question in the chat and I can ask him on your behalf because I make a very good representative on the internet. Also, please be kind in the chat and be kind to our guest. Mr. Drew is a guest here. Only I can be mean to him. That's my job. I'm not going to, though. But Our Vote Counts. My name is Ayana, by the way. This is OVC, Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds united by a shared commitment to empowering voters and promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections. OVC, Our Vote Counts, is more than a name. It's a promise, a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future one informed vote at a time. And tonight, we are speaking with John Drew Williams, who is running for the House of Representatives out of Kentucky's 1st District. And as Mr. Drew said, he already won the primary. He already won. He's already winning. John Andrew Williams, as it says here, thank you to the research team for spelling out his full name. he he has spent his entire life in Western Kentucky. You played basketball. You majored in history? You're a
Yes.
history? Oh, okay. As he said, he builds docks, boat docks, and he shares his life with his wife, Erin, who is a middle school history teacher. Oh, two history nerds in love. Oh, I love it. He believes in building a world where every child has a fair shot, every family feels supported, and every voice matters. If you were here early, you heard him talk about his district. It has 35 counties. That's a lot of counties, a lot of people. Over 759,000 people. I don't even know that many people. Okay, I don't know how you're going to do it though. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. So I have a fun little icebreaker. I noticed something, a little nugget, if you will, in the things I was reading about you. Apparently, you and your wife helped revitalize the Tater Day Festival in your area. What is your favorite way to eat a potato, Mr. Drew? How do you prepare your tater?
I like a loaded baked potato. Um, Cheese, bacon, and like seasonings. They whatever. But the it's my hometown festival, but my wife is from Sykeston, and when she came over the first time and saw it, and there was almost no. It's a sweet potato festival, first off,
Ooh.
and there was no sweet potatoes, and there was barely any potato things, and she got so upset that was my hometown festival, because they have the Boot Hill Rodeo and the Cotton Carnival and stuff like that over in Sykeston. So they have a lot of really big events. They bring in really big activities. And when she was like, "This is what you all have," she's like, "We have to fix this." And I was like, "I'm happy to do it." So so my wife really kind of drove me into doing that. But we've had a really fun time trying to. It's 183 years old. It's the longest running continuous trade day in the United States. And so we've been trying to make it more of a family friendly, forward thinking, accessible activity. It's during our spring break. So a lot of the kids with affluence go on spring break. And so we want to make sure that we're taking into consideration those people who are staying behind, right, at least for the early part of the break, or maybe taking a smaller vacation, and give them something to care about again. Because I know when I was a kid, it had started to fall apart, right? I mean, when an event is that long, and it's not city sponsored, it's community sponsored. And we all know like the kind of communities we are in, especially rural spaces where there's a lot less input anymore, especially from younger people. Right. Those things kind of fall apart. And so it's been
so it's sweet potato, not white potato. It's sweet potato.
Yeah,
sweet potato. So I take my question back. Okay. How are you? What's your favorite way to prepare the sweet potato? Are you a pie guy? Are you like yams on Thanksgiving kind of guy? Or what are you doing? How are you eating your sweet potato?
I really enjoy sweet potato casseroles. I mean, now that we do Tater Day, we definitely have those at all of our big family events, right? And then we started hosting a sweet potato pie both an eating competition and a baking competition, right?
Oh my God!
So it's a lot of fun to pay to be the judge of sweet potato pies, right? Oof. That people are making.
I love some sweet potato pie, honey.
Yeah, it's a fake healthy dessert, right? It's like, oh, this is a dessert. You can eat this at any point in the meal. You'll be great.
Okay, enough pie talk. Let's get down to business, Mr. Congressional Candidate. You've said that you're running to focus on congressional duties. What do you believe are the three most important constitutional responsibilities of a member of Congress?
I think that first thing is passing a budget that reflects the values of our communities. And that's not beholding ourselves to a party or a special interest agenda or like the president's agenda. That's our district's agenda. And so I think that we've gotten away from that. And these are in no particular order. I think we need to be upholding what the Constitution says in its interactions. I think that we have allowed a lot of implied powers at the federal level, right? Both sides have wanted to expand what we can do so that we can affect states, and states are supposed to be the laboratories of our democracy, right, or our republic. So I think that both sides really need to take a step back and understand like where we're at, and if we want to change things, then we need to make amendments to the Constitution and enact those things. It's kind of like showcasing the SAVE Act right now and how it kind of steps on the 24th Amendment for poll taxes. Right, we made a new amendment that's the current rule sets. I'm a big not rules follower, but I like really understanding and following the organization of rules, right? And so like that showcases to me like this is if it was a game, you'd be breaking the system, right? And not following those things. You just got to do what's allowed. And then again, trying to really deliver for people in terms of trust. I think that we've gotten out of trusting our Congress, right, and the federal government especially, but a lot of people for their local and state governments as well. We need to come up with systems that reestablish that level of trust that they give to us. I think that like the individual stock trading ban is a really good showcase of reestablishing that trust. So those are, I think, they're like the kind of the goals of being in Congress right now that matter is making sure that we're representing our district first, that we're following the Constitution's rules, and that we're reestablishing trust.
Okay, I like that response. Do you think that members of Congress should publicly report engagement metrics like response times or number of casework resolutions or number of calls answered, not answered, voicemails returned, not returned, things like that?
Yeah, so I think that so one of my goals is reestablishing the way that the contact method between constituents and your congressional representative work, so that even if, let's say, we have everybody engaged, right, and that's like 500,000 voting members, right, in the district. You may not be able to answer every phone call, but you could record or register, maybe your top 3 issues for the month, right? You call in, you say, hey, healthcare, jobs, and education are my 3 things. And at the end of the month, we tabulate all that and we showcase that online and on our website. And if 40% of the people, right, said healthcare was one of my 3 issues, then 40% of my words next month should be healthcare. You know what I mean? Like I should be a direct voice representative of what we're talking about. If 1% of it is Second Amendment rights, well, we need to be talking about Second Amendment rights, right? And how that works for 1% of the month, right? And so like just trying to make sure that we're establishing those goals like you were talking about. I want to, again, run town halls. I think that we are spending too much time in Washington. Like on the weekend, who am I talking to? Like, what am I doing there? I mean, like
fancy dinner, probably. A lot of them have fancy dinners.
But I just there's an event that I plan on trying to attend next month in DC with some other congressional candidates for the Balance and Accountability or Balance and Accountable Congress group, and I checked flights and it's like $180, like, a month and a half out. So like if we knew when we were leaving and going in, you could buy a whole set of plane tickets early enough in the time period to where it's not expensive to get back to your district every weekend.
Mr. Drew, apparently there's some kind of government shutdown affecting the TSA workers. So I don't know, those prices might be going up, everybody.
Yeah, that part might be true. Yeah, as long as we're not reestablishing some norms there in DHS, we'll probably continue to see that kind of struggle.
Yeah, which it's unfortunate that people's livelihoods have to be affected by some political wrangling. So do you support banning members of Congress and senior officials from working for major federal contractors after leaving office? Why or why not?
Yes, on my policies, I currently have it set at 10 years, which I think is probably long enough to dissuade. But I would happily take a permanent ban on those kinds of things. It's just probably hard to judge with like if they require it to go to an ethics committee every time those people want to join a business or something in the future, 10, 15, 20 years in the future, it's going to look like there's a lot of people that have to go through that ethics committee. So I can understand having a time drop off, on that kind of power scaling. But I would take whatever time period could get passed, right? To ban. I'm definitely pragmatic. I try to take every situation as in terms of like, can I get a little bit of this passed, or can we get all of this passed? I'm happy to take anything's better than nothing right now. I say the same thing with like term limits, right? Like I'll take a single term. I'll take 4 terms. Can we get something passed? Because right now, like, it's just everything's out of whack. So I agree with you on stopping federal contracting, kind of special interesting their way into Congress,
right?
And influencing people's post congressional earnings, because we don't even track that. Like, we look at like, oh, look at what your congressperson earns or their net worth, but once they leave office, we don't even keep account of that at all.
I mean, and it can balloon. They go into the millions. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I just I remember watching Rick Scott talk about the individual stock trading ban, and he was like, "Well, I make $500 million a year. If I couldn't trade stocks, I wouldn't even want to be here." And it's like, great, go home.
Great, go right.
go home. It'd be great. No problems at all, man. I totally get it. You make a lot of money. That sounds great. I wish everybody made a lot of money.
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Yeah. Like, wouldn't you be a great expert to talk to all these people about whatever you do?
Right.
You don't have to be the guy in charge.
So you support term limits. How many terms do you think is sufficient in the House of Representatives to affect change?
So I like the sloganized conversation of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior out.
Okay.
So I would take 4 terms with both, because I think senators take a long-term approach to Congress, where House of Representatives are supposed to take a short-term approach to the nation. And then, of course, that matches the president's term limits, and most governors as well. It would be 8 years. I'd take less for Senate. Most things say 2 terms for Senate and like 3 terms for House. That sounds great to me. I think it's harder to make that slogan pitch to people, and we have an infinite now, so I'll take 4.
I'll take 4. There you go. That's the slogan. I'll take 4.
Yeah. And also, I would even advocate for probably like a alumni position for like the first year from the outgoing representative, to like be mandated to, like, I have to take a call from them for like an hour so they can go talk to constituents and be that kind of like in between person on the ground of who's not like counter to what we're doing, but to help expand. Like, I'm the Democrat. It'd be nice if, the Republican candidate, if they lost, the re-election or the election, was able to be somebody who Republicans could feel like, hey, I can go call that person as an extra, and they're going to get, they'll divvy up what the most important conversations are on our side, and he'll have to listen to me, like for an hour with that representative. And I think those are just kind of unique ways of readdressing this modern conversation that we have. Because like you said, like, the districts are huge now. And unless we're going to increase the number of representatives that we have,
which they're not going to do,
because it's going to divvy up their power, then we're going to have to be more effective at getting in front of people and finding ways to drive them to the table. And it's really hard to get the opposite party to come to your events. You know what I mean? Like, it's already kind of a football game. So if we could get like somebody in their party to be able to be like a co-representative conversationalist, it's not the vote, but it's somebody who you can rely on to get you that information. I feel like more people will be heard. And that's kind of that's the goal. It should be that everybody feels like they're heard and represented. My job is not just to represent blue dots; it's to represent all the dots that are out there. And so, I need to hear them, and we need to come up with a solution that feels pragmatic to my district, right? So yeah.
Okay, I like that response. So let's move on to environment. If anyone has a question, again, you can leave that in the chat, or you can hit that multi-guest and come on up and ask Mr. Drew a question about his district, about his platform or his policies. Under the Trump administration, Repeated budget proposals have reduced funding for national parks. How would your approach differ when it comes to protecting public lands as a public trust?
So I actually live on Kentucky Lake, which is TVA owned, the Tennessee Valley Authority, and right across from it is LBL, which is the land between the lakes, which is a park. I think it's a state. I think it's a state park. No, it's a federal. No, it's a national park because Ken Lake is a state park. It's a national park. So land between the lakes is a national park. So I live I can see it from across the lake, right? And it's a very big part of our life and our culture here. And so I'm definitely in favor of protecting it and making sure that, I work on the waterways. So when environmental protection fails or when these spaces get, sold off to the highest bidder, as we're seeing in other areas of the country where it's either with logging or mining or resource allocations, that harms us because once you sell it, we can never get it back. It's our land. And so we should be more very, very selfish with that in terms of giving it over to private interests. It was one of the, not the most shocking things inside of the big, beautiful bill, but it was the most generally affrontish, I feel to everybody in terms of again, me and you, we're just blips on a timeline, but our public lands,
right?
They outlast all of us. It's like the trees in our backyard. A lot of them have been there before we were born, and they'll be there after we die. And so, the concept of losing those spaces for temporary gain seems silly. I get that, in some terms, we want to be energy independent and we want to be resource independent, and there's ways to do that. But I don't think that it's I think it's by being more effective with the land that we already have in use for commercial productivity, not taking from what we consider our communal spaces and lands, right? That's unfortunate. And I think that if anything, we should be trying to expand those as best we can, because that's going to set us up for a more productive future with our children and grandchildren, right? If they have those spaces that are pristine.
I mean, what do the trees do besides provide us with oxygen? I mean, that's who needs that? Clearly, people aren't breathing enough. But it's interesting that and this is just my opinion, it seems like we're dealing with somebody who's interested in making a quick buck.
Yeah.
And, let's sell off this, fire this person, do this. And it's okay, you've done all that. Where's the money?
Yeah.
Where's the money?
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate because I feel when it comes to the ultra wealthy and those in political power that see themselves as benefiting, in the post-World War II era, we had this concept of might is not always right. And so we established a lot more smaller countries, and we respected borders and the engagements that we're going with. But because of, climate change, really, we are seeing more migration from the center of the equator, right, to other areas.
No, because Trump said that's not real. What do you mean?
That's hilarious. But it's just interesting where the major superpowers are taking on a consideration of, Russia's going for Ukraine, which is resource heavy. China's going for Taiwan, which is resource heavy. We're going for Venezuela and Greenland, which is resource heavy. And the adage for might is right is kind of reestablishing itself, because I think there's a time clock that's occurring, and that's the climate getting worse for certain areas of the world, much more so than probably in America specifically, but we're feeling that. That rapid change of weather all the time. But that's why I think that we're making these sales, right? That's why we're giving tax breaks and considerations to the top, because they're hoarding the consumerist wealth, and they're hoarding resources because, they're well, why won't, it's much more beneficial long-term to help the working class. And it's not long-term anymore. It's 10 years, it's 15 years at the max, and so there's a shift in a game being played that we're not allowed to be a part of.
Right.
Right. And so it seems that's where the public land sales are happening. They're well, who cares, right? if we're not, we're going to be in charge of this new like Freedom City technocracy, and it's going to be really, I don't know. It just seems really awkward because like, that's why Europe's been going for green energy for the last 20 years is because they don't have the global might power to do this. So they're like, hey, everybody save the planet. And we're like, nah, we're good. Like, they're all coming to you. Like, everybody's going that way.
We're like, no, we want coal jobs. Coal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, just the resource extractionism, I think, is the conversation. It's not so much about what the resource is.
Right.
Right. And that's why they play on the fears. Like, right, like Kentucky has a lot of coal mining jobs still. And those are good jobs and they're a lot safer than they have been in the past.
I meant no offense, Kentucky.
No, you're great.
I'm in Ohio. I understand.
Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. But I just meant like there's a transition that is happening, but the conversation always gets skewed to where we're just like, well, we think your job's stupid, right? It's like, well, we don't think your job's stupid or it wasn't worthwhile or anything, but it's also dangerous to you and it's dangerous to the environment, and we need to slowly move forward, and we probably need to make sure your community is the first to benefit from those changes. If we're going to lower electric costs, you need to be the first one we lower. You know what I mean? Like, we should include you first because your community spent that time and suffered to help build that consideration. But we don't, that conversation is not very well elucidated by Democratic representatives, and like when presidents go into coal country and they're like, we're going to make everybody computer chip builders and scientists, and it's just like, they don't really feel that, right? Like maybe just go quietly build the college that does that, and once half their community is doing it, right, then you can start talking about it. Don't talk about it beforehand because you're losing
with the
the
infrastructure.
Argument. Yeah, it's much more like, hey, let's make this more efficient. Oh, look, we've already transitioned. You didn't
even notice. Look at that.
Yeah, you didn't even notice. It's great. Like, that's exactly what you wanted. Like, people don't want to work a job just to work. Like, they're like, oh, well, my grandpappy worked this job, so I'm going to. It's like, no, they think it's a good job. Like they think it's good, effective for them.
And it could be lucrative, but it can also have devastating health consequences. And I mean, you want to avoid that as much as you want to avoid damaging the earth for the next billion years. You care about the person, you care about the earth, and trying to get that across to people who just want to make money to feed their families. It's like, how do you do that? But you're right. If you slowly start building up the structures needed to transition them, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna work with this community college to get these high school students or these people who are unemployed into these kinds of jobs, these technology jobs, and then before you know it, everybody's building computers.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they're just trying to build data centers in my district right now. So,
what do you think about that? Is your community receptive to that? Is that because that's where? No. Okay.
No. Yeah. Okay. Now at the top, like, in the community, like the local and state official leaders, and like Comer's even on the Education and Commerce Committee spaces. And so he mentioned like how we have a data center coming in Paducah. And again, like, it's not like AI isn't going to have a role in our lives. But this race that we have going on with China and other countries to be mostly for military advantage, totally understand that need for the rush. I think that's why like all this infrastructure is being put in place. But I don't need AI on my Google search, right? Like, thank
you.
It's just, I don't need AI to make pretty pictures for me. Like, I need it, like, if it's going to do anything, I need it to do the hard job so that I can get some universal basic income and you can go do the job that, you're passionate about. And write poetry and sing songs and they can do the grunt work, right? But that's not what we're doing. We're making it do all the fun things, and then we're going to go work the 9 to 5 for some reason. And so I think that some countries have done a good job of giving people digital copyrights to their face and likeness and voice, right? That helps for a lot of things. And then other countries have done a better job of integrating AI under the scene, right? So that it helps with average everyday life, but it's not something that you're just interacting with yourself. Because I think that's where we're creating the most environmental cause damage, right, is where we're just like, every time you do a Google search or every time you're on ChatGPT and you're asking it questions, it's just burning water. And like, do you need that comparatively to maybe doing a little bit of research? Probably not. Could Google be more effective at like having filters that of its conversations that helped you get to the content you wanted? It probably could, without AI to do that. So
I
we could
skip
build that.
AI when I do Google. I skip it because
Yeah,
it's just summarizing something I could obviously read myself, and
yeah.
I prefer to read the source material, right?
Sure, yeah, and unfortunately, like for a lot of people, like if you scroll into the AI thing, it's going to give you some sources. So, like for people who just want the answer and they don't really care about the impacts or lasting conversations of that, then it's not. It's hard to make that. It's kind of like recycling, right? Like if I recycle by myself, okay, it's cool. If you recycle by yourself, it's fine. If we all do it together, like it's cool too. But like 2 cruise ships just beat all of us for the whole year. You know what I mean? Like everybody driving their car to work, like just beat all of
Right.
the efforts that we just tried to do together. Now, is it worth doing? Yeah. We should probably try to be more, individually kind of responsible for that systems. But we also need to set, rules in place. Like the big beautiful bill again. It made it to where states weren't able to moderate AI for 10 years individually. And that's a huge
Which
issue.
is bananas.
Yeah, right.
That's
Again, like states,
crazy.
it's weird being the Democrat and being like, I'm the more constitutionalist and I'm the more, states' rights individual, systems. It's like, if Minnesota don't want ICE, ICE shouldn't be there. Like it's, now again, I know that in Arizona v. United States in 2012, we kind of set the precedent with liberal judges to say Arizona was going too hard on immigration. And we're like, no, the federal government has supremacy. And now we're reaping the rewards of that decision. Right. And so it's just like, again, Democrats need to also have a healthy fear of federal government, and like what it could do. If it's not a tool, right, it's going to be a barrier or an oppressor. So we need to just make it a tool and keep it as lean as possible, and the way that it engages so that states have their ability to control themselves.
I'm pursing my lips because I work for them people.
Yeah.
So I have insight, but I can't say anything.
No, you're good.
I love working for the American people. I love it, love it,
Amen.
love it. All right. Climate change is increasing wildfires, flooding, and extreme weather in national parks. Trump dismissed climate science. We laughed about that earlier, but it's true. How would your leadership ensure parks are prepared for these risks? He said that climate change is fake. Greenhouse gases, that's not real. What are you talking about? We don't need regulation on this stuff. Everything's fine. We don't even really need these electric vehicles. Let's put more of these plumes of toxic gas into the air because it doesn't do anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
I think the first thing would be that we need to stop subsidizing gas and oil companies. Right, we federally subsidize them to keep gas prices low, which showcases to the American public that they're like, well, gas is going good, right? And if those companies can support themselves on supporting themselves, first off, then keep going, right? But and I'm happy to take the trade of we also don't subsidize like the green energy movement either, and we allow those things to naturally build. But when we're subsidizing to the tune of billions of dollars, right, to fossil fuel companies, like it skews the numbers on what's beneficial, and so I think that's a good first start.
Do
Secondly,
you have a
is like,
cat? Do you have a
yeah, I
cat?
do. I need to get him out of the room, but I'm working
No,
on
it's
it.
okay.
Okay.
I thought I heard something. I was like, it can't be a bird.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's
it's
a
a cat.
cat.
It's a very squeaky male cat.
What's your cat's
Um,
name?
Xenophon.
Xenophon. Oh, what is that?
It is a ancient Greek philosopher.
Okay.
My wife has a master's in Greek and Latin, and so my 2 cats are Xenophon and Tacitus, which are Greek orators and philosophers. Or well, one's a Italian. But yeah, so nobody knows their names, including the vet. So that's kind of where they're at.
Okay. It can stay. It can
Okay.
stay. I'm sure cats have an interest in politics too. It's about everybody. It's the cats, the dogs, the cows, the chickens, the people, everybody. So what are we doing about your climate change policy? Are you getting us back to greenhouse gases are bad, or are you? I mean, it just seems like okay, Republicans are against heavy regulation, but this new
Uh,
faction is against any regulation, which it's not going to work. You got to have some regulation. Well, how do you strike the balance?
yeah. I live next to what is considered a lot of plants. There's a lot of plants in Calvert City. I live in Marshall County, and there's considerable conversations about that because of the back and forth on growth of industry comparatively to environmental regulations and conversations. If we're going to regulate, it should be incentive based. Right. So when just like we do with we did for carbon credits when we talked about electric cars, right? We need to make sure that when the companies when the companies do well for their area, we should reward them, and we should make sure that it is as streamlined as possible for them to be a positive net contributor in our communities, right? I think too often America's really good at punishment schemes, and it's really bad at incentivization schemes.
Right.
And I think that we consistently look at like how we can make it not harder, but we're like, you just need to do this. You know what I mean? And there's not really like an on-road or an off-ramp for those concepts. You know, certain businesses might not be prepared to take those systems, and I'd like to. I mean, it's going to take getting in there and seeing what that looks like, I think, for people. But we should work our best to make sure that we're good for industry. But we have to make a change. When we established clean water and air and health standards in the 80s and 90s, like the direct benefits are just exponential.
Right,
and so that's just the goal, right? Is that we continue on with that path. And if that's, again, that's a better way of subsidizing systems, right? Is instead of just giving pretty much bailouts to fossil fuel companies, why don't we directly either invest or help offset companies as they move to become greener, right?
Oh my gosh, really?
Less
Are you
pollution. Yeah.
serious?
Right. And so that's kind of the question there is how do we best establish ways that work? Because what I've noticed, especially in a very red district, is that when people are struggling to make ends meet, whether it's paying too many credit cards or not being able to afford rent, gas, and groceries, or their businesses are struggling, the last things they're thinking about is people outside of their tribe and the 30-year impact that they're going to have on things, right? Like that's just not what they're thinking about. And so it's hard to change the political willpower of the community, right? It's one thing to like talk about a business and what they're supposed to do, but we have to, businesses aren't people, corporations aren't people. And so we have to deal with the workers and the business owners and the people inside of those spaces. And a lot of them are in favor of their business or in favor of their paycheck, right? And they want that to do better. And and their businesses argue that whenever we establish environmental regulations, that we're cutting up their future, paycheck, their future bonus, their future pay raise. And so that's the important thing, is to try to build a new way of having this conversation that hopefully uplifts and promotes everybody's benefit structure. I also think that there's probably way too many businesses that are not monopolies, but they're monopolizing the conversation of what they do. Right. And if we're going to establish more small, independent, and local businesses to do a lot more things, we gotta take a stronger approach to that, right? And that's where I'm at, especially. And so I think that'll also be able to incentivize more effective environmental stewardship.
Okay. Now, Mr. Drew, I'm going to move on to some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Now, these are A, B, C, D, yes or no.
Sure.
Okay. U.S. role abroad, lead, partner, or pull back?
Partner.
Okay. Military aid, condition it or maintain current approach.
Current approach is in the Trump administration's approach. I was just curious. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
I would change it.
As I fix my scarf here, what's one value you won't compromise on?
Can I say my community?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if that's really like a physical value set, like integrity or,
I mean, whatever that community represents to you. When you get to Congress, you're not going to become somebody different, somebody that the people who put you there don't recognize, right?
yeah, that's my mentality there.
All right. What's your I'm a real person, I promise hobby?
I have been playing World of Warcraft for the last 21 years.
Oh, you're a real person.
I am a very avid D&D player.
You're real. Yes. What's one political cliche you refuse to use?
I am really bad at phone banking. I think that being on the ground and being effective and available to people is more worth my time than calling somebody in California and asking them for money. And I know that money multiplies the conversation, but I've seen too many times where people run ads and the people you're not convincing are definitely not convinced by your ad, right? They're convinced by seeing you in person. So the cliche that is you should spend 8 hours a day phone banking, right? And
Well, Mr. Drew, if you get to Congress, you know what you do half the time.
It's so true though. They got a whole building next door for both the parties, right? It's wild. So
You're gonna
I'm
have
hoping to break that.
You're either going to have to break that habit or you're going to have to just be like, I'm sorry, I really don't want to do this, but they're making me do it. Ooh.
Yeah, I've made phone calls. Obviously, people don't answer their phone anymore also. So it just feels like I'm wasting my time. And I also, I understand that we're in the game we are, and I have to take dollars that exist from outside of my district, but I also feel like we should be moving towards a system where I'm only allowed to take dollars inside my district, or we should be federalizing the election dollars, so that you have $40 to spend on your U.S. House candidate, right? And it's something we raised and gave to you, so now you have an investment model. Because I have so many friends that don't ever donate to any candidates because they're broke, right? Like they're broke, like they're below poverty level. And so their opinion never matters to most politicians, local, state, or federal, right?
Yeah,
we should definitely want to change that.
Yeah.
So the fundraising aspect of things, not saying I'm not raising money, I'm not asking for money, but that's the cliche that I think is so broken.
Okay, so how often? Well, you already answered that. It was about town halls. No, you already answered that one. Let's see. Priority, wages, housing, or health care? Which one's first, second, and third?
It's a good question. I think wages, health care, and housing.
Okay. Federal minimum wage, raise, keep, or regionalize?
So I'm actually kind of in favor of the regionalizing. I think that there should be two different pages of minimum wage. I think that we should definitely raise mom and pop starting wages. Like if your business is 20 people or lower, right? You're a local business. It could probably be $8 an hour and scale with the number of employees you have up to $2 below whatever our regional production wage is. Because again, I play a D&D game at a local bookstore. The bookstore owner is like, hey, if you raise our minimum wage to $15 an hour, I'm going out of business because I can't keep the doors open, right? Because in economic hard times, people don't buy books, right? Or knickknacks or trinket spaces. They buy necessities, and those things are going to keep going. Yeah. Yeah. But the argument was that if we had like an $8 minimum wage for mom and pop stores, and then like let's say for every employee up to 21, you got a 5% raise for the floor, right? So every time you added an employee, it would go up. And then once you hit a specific, 21 employees, you would be $2 below. Like let's say it's $14 an hour for my area, right? For production wages. That means all the factories, the Dollar Generals. When we have a Dollar General come in, the lowest paid worker is like $9 an hour, but they have thousands of workers across the country.
Yeah.
They should be paying the minimum wage of that store should be $14 an hour, and then you have a manager who's getting paid. So you have 3 or 4 good jobs, because right now we got like 1 good job per Dollar General and like 3 jobs that everybody rotates through because nobody can keep it, right? And that shouldn't be the case. That's not effective. And so I think that regionalizing it and taking a more diversified or nuanced approach to who is having to deal with those dollars, because some places are like, I run, a 3-person summer, activity, right? Like I'm employing people, but we're just 3 people, 4 people, and we do something on the lake, right? And it's only for like 6 months. Well, if you started making them have to pay $15, $16 an hour for something that they're just they're hiring high school students, literally, like volunteers at the water park, or not volunteers, but like high school students at the water park. It's a lot different than being a factory worker, right? But we should make sure those factory workers have a minimum floor that is effective, so that it pushes the upper wages higher, right? So yeah, I like I'm grateful that you added the regionalized conversation.
So, Drew, I have been to Kentucky exactly one time to visit
Okay.
the Cincinnati airport. The only time I've been to Kentucky. If you were to recommend one thing in your district for a noob like myself to visit and enjoy in your district, what would it be?
I'm going to be partial and say Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. It has LBL, which is Land Between the Lakes. It is, again, it's right out my door, at my house, and so I'm going to advocate for that. There is, I'm trying to think. I also think that over in Boyle County and Frankfort, the environment and the hill landscape spaces really are very picturesque, right? And so that would be a second for me. Is like Center College is a really a pristine looking space. Danville's beautiful. It has a lot to do. But if you were going to come spend like a week of like touristy vacationing, sitting on the beach or riding around in a boat or going, of course, horseback riding, and they got nature centers and trails and all that kind of stuff. For my district, I think that's one of the most beautiful spaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome, actually. That's my kind of thing. Nature, I love being outside. I love to garden. I've never, I think, have I been on a horse before? I've ridden a horse, maybe as a kid, I think.
I do a lot of time outside. I've been doing my same job since I was 14, building boat
Mhm.
docks. So like I've been on the lake for so many times that I always tell everybody, if you elect me, I'll never ask for a vacation. Because I don't need to go outside. As soon as I usually get done with work, I run inside.
Yeah.
And then when I go on vacations, I'm usually the person like going down to the car like 17 times during the vacation. So I spend more time in the elevator than I do in the room. And so yeah, if elected, I promise I'm never going to ask. As long as there's AC, I'm good.
They're
I'm so
gonna make
happy.
you, they're gonna have to carry you out of the Capitol building.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Mr. Williams, leave, please.
Well,
Go.
again, I'm hopefully going to be running to the airport every Friday so I can get back to the district, because that's our goal.
So, okay, are you familiar with the Promise Act?
No.
Not familiar with that. Are you familiar with the You and Your Doctor Act?
Is that allowing more personal empowerment to people to either choose their doctors or to work with them on like prescriptions and treatment choices?
I'm not sure here. It says that it guarantees that medical professionals, not corporations, decide patient care by
Right.
banning pharmaceutical lobbying and
Yeah.
protecting doctor independence.
Yeah. 100% in favor of that mentality. Right. Obviously, I don't know the wording of the bill, but that is important.
How do you define appropriate limits on federal involvement in medical decisions? And if you're going to talk about a particular medical procedure, please say AB and not the whole word. Thank
No,
you.
I get you. So I consider, like, I've obviously been a Democrat my whole life, but I consider myself a liberty-style econocrat. So if it's more liberty in your life or more money in your pocket, those are the policies that I really try to strive for. In terms of liberty, right? I think that your decisions shouldn't be dictated by government oversight when it's involving you and your body and your choices. Because I think that when we start to, I think both parties have an issue with control.
Yeah.
And trying to establish ways in which they can tell other people what to do. And then that happens from a myriad of avenues. And so if we want to incentivize, let's say like we want to incentivize good behavior or what we determine as the proper mode going forward, right? We should go that route rather than just taking things from people, right? When it comes to like, there are a lot of good steps right now, pragmatically, in like 2A, right? Involvement. There's a lot of pragmatic steps in a woman's right to choose, right? That could reduce the root causes of why women seek that out, right? And we could affect that because our mutual goal is that it's available in the hospital, free of charge for everybody. And those hospitals can get federal funds even if they help provide it. So we're not having to have secondary clinics even, right? And there's a day when no one uses it because we've helped fix the root causes of why women seek them out, right?
Yes, no more men.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
But I think that if we establish those kinds of systems, I've had a lot of conversations with people about that specific issue that are very pro-life, right? And when we talk about it from a mutual perspective of like, hey, we both want to reduce the number, right? But like, I don't want to shove it under the rug. I want population to go up and for there to be a natural decrease in the number of those. Because we're solving those root causes as to why people either need them or seek them out from other needs, right, or perceived needs even, right. And so like I think that there's a route. People are like, oh, I never thought about that. And I'm like, I know, because you think about it in this black and white dichotomy. Instead of saying, hey, maybe there's some nuance here. The government does really well when you establish levers so that both sides get something they want when they both work together. I appreciated the intent behind in Langford's 2022 border bill when they talked about how when if they had so many border crossings, they would cut off asylum for 7 days, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that seems harsh for asylum seekers, right? Totally understand. But it puts some levers for Democrats and Republicans. Democrats want to work on the border now, right? Like we want to help keep that number low so we can keep asylum open. And now we know that Republicans aren't going to fight us on asylum, right? They're going to help make that system more efficient. And so there's good back and forth that we need to try to officiate. And I think that there's a good system there that would in either right to choose or those kinds of conversations that could get those people who are typically not on our side about it to be like, oh, I would take that consideration, right? Like that seems like it would actually work. And it's like, yeah, we're trying to make this work, not shove it under the rug and not have any knowledge about it. That's not helpful to anyone because that was where we were that's how we got here is because we were doing that. And so we're just trying to find a new path forward that's not this typical conversation because both parties benefit when we're arguing back and forth and not getting anywhere because they can say next election, they're like, well, I'm going to fight for that. And I'm like, that's great. Both sides have had super majorities in the past and you didn't pass it. So I'm assuming you don't want to pass it, which is fine. I get where we've been and who y'all were. Maybe we can change some things.
So what's your solution for this health insurance crisis we're in? Not health care crisis, sure. That's something separate, but health insurance coverage Like you're in Kentucky. Kentucky
Mhm.
is I read a book, and I can't say the title of it. It's DYING of Whiteness. Have you read that book?
No.
Okay. The author talks about Kentucky as being one of the states where people literally are voting against their best interests because,
Yeah.
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 And so,
No.
yeah.
100%. High Medicaid, high disability, high unemployment rate, high, yeah.
Right. And
Standard health
Obamacare,
costs, care costs. Yeah.
the ACA was one of those things that people were not in support of until the governor, the former governor, changed the name of it and called it, can't
Connect.
remember. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so everybody was like, yes, expand Medicaid. And we want that. We want that coverage and et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. What is your, do you have a specific plan for retooling maybe the ACA, or do you have something completely different that you think would work better?
So I'm a really big proponent on keeping individual concepts into bills by themselves, right? So like I have a few things that I like to discuss here, I guess, about what I'm for. I think there needs to be a profit cap on essential medicines and treatments. I think that if you know, it could be 15%, it could be 10%, 20%. I don't care what it is. Right now, it's like 300, 400, 500%, right?
Yeah.
On the profits that they're making. There's no cap at all for just in general, and that's for private insurance as well as public insurance. I think that when it comes to things that keep you alive, we need to make sure that sure the business puts some effort into it, but and they need to receive a profit motive so they continue to make it. But it doesn't mean that they need to make something so strict. It's like I think it's Scarelli who made the insulin or EpiPen or whatever, like $1,200.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was bad, right?
That
Like
was
that should have never
really
been
bad.
possible.
Yes.
Right. There's also other things on talking about the copywriting maneuvers that they have. Like let's say with like asthma inhalers, they can change something in the design of the bottle, not the medicine inside, and they can reestablish the copyright, right, on the entire medicine inside of it. And so like that's something that we need
Oh,
to.
okay.
Yeah. So it's the distribution method. And they could like add a something that keeps the cap from falling away, right? You don't take the cap; it like holds onto it. Well, now the
Yeah.
medicine inside is now re-copyright for another 10 years. So like
Oh,
that
okay.
keeps it from us having generics that are effective. I think that we should have a tax on the marketing that corporations, pharmaceutical corporations, treatment corporations use. So like maybe if for like every dollar spent, if it's like a 15% tax on marketing dollars, because in 2024 we spent 35% more money on marketing than we did on research and development.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
right. It's a huge issue. It was billions and billions of dollars that obviously we paid for our prescriptions, but they use it to market it to other people. And we're like one of the only countries that has marketing for pharmaceuticals and treatments. I'd much rather say like let's do that first off. Let's establish this tax on marketing dollars. But then also, if your company doesn't use marketing, we should create like a AMA style book that has every treatment in it. I don't care if it's experimental. I don't care if it's Reiki or electrotherapy or just anything that it's there. Here's everything. You as an individual could look this up online. You could call into a number and say, "Hey, I need you to explain medicine 489." Right, and have somebody tell you more about it. You can talk with your doctor. Every one of those books should be at a medical facility for you, for all the treatments that are available for companies that don't advertise, right? And that
There
way
was some person who said they were going to eliminate advertising of pharmaceutical medicines on TV.
I would love that, and I would definitely vote for that.
Can't
I'm just saying that I would
remember.
also take a more step-based approach as well. I'd do either. I'm
Oh,
happy to
right.
go either.
RFK Jr. said that. RFK
Oh
Jr.
yeah, that'd be great. I mean, again, I totally support that maneuver. So whenever he's,
Whenever
you
he
know,
wants to institute it, you go right ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, and again, going down to the comment section, if the companies aren't U.S. based, I think that like that helps out a lot more even because they're currently competing in American media markets, right, against these companies, and we are the main producer and distributor of pharmaceuticals and treatments in the U.S. So other countries are already going to be at a disadvantage for probably being a smaller company. So if they're not advertising, and we help them because we want to help our citizens, so we get that information to you, right? I think that's beneficial, and I don't think that it takes a lot of money to do that. Adding another company's pharmaceutical or treatment list to your website, right? Doesn't seem like it's going to be costly. And so those are some things. I think that we need transparent billing for both the pharmaceutical companies and hospitals, right? You should be able to know where you go. You should 100% know if something is going to be quote unquote in network, right? In this transitionary period that we're having, we still have in network, out of network things. I'm happy to make that not a thing, but if we need to take a step back from that, I'm also happy to say transparent billing, so that, I can't say I go to the doctor and they do a scan, and the doctor in the scan was in network, but the person who read it was not in network, and now I owe $10,000. Right. That shouldn't be possible for you to have to deal with that kind of disparity, I guess, in having to be like an expert on keeping up with where your information is going and who's charging you beforehand. You should know when you go into the doctor's, this is what I'm going to be charged, and this is it, and that's before I say yes to anything, right? Right. Because that's a problem. Obviously, there's going to be scales on what your medical insurance is currently, because obviously we have a tiered system of healthcare currently. And so if we can reestablish those things, I think that we have a better front to tackling the healthcare costs, right? Same thing with, the government spends quite a bit of money with pharmaceutical companies and with colleges on research and development. Right. That's gonna, when we have those benefits, the American people should also see returns, right? Even if that's in lower costs, if that's in dividends, however that works, for the consideration. If we have public input, we should get public benefits.
And we do have a question from the audience. I don't know that I understand it, though. It says, if John Doe comes up with a new medicine patented by JD, he can't profit off of his idea.
I'd also like for some more elaboration, because I don't think that's what we're arguing here. I think that the benefit is that if you come up with a new drug and you're not you're more welcome to advertise online. You're more welcome to advertise on TV. I'm not saying you can't. I think there should be a tax that helps disincentivize that, but I'm happy to not really promote, but give a free lane for that to be discussed and available to the public, right? If they don't, right? Because I think that we're pushing an agenda when we're advertising, whereas if everything is on the same level playing field, then it's up to the consumer and the doctor to make those decisions about what works for them, right? And so I think that in this way, we're actually saying that John Doe would have a stronger ability to profit off of their idea, rather than having to deal with the media market and pay into that, right? So it's actually probably expanding access to, again, experimental treatments and drugs and things. I don't see, again, you do what you want to do with your body. If you want to take an experimental, medication that you think will work because these other ones haven't worked for you, that's between you and your doctor. I shouldn't, we take a lot of supplements and a lot of essential oils and medicines and stuff like that are not FDA approved already. So what am I to do to tell you to not do it? You can buy colloidal silver as much as you want and take it until you're blue in the face, legitimately. And so, that's not on me.
So let me ask you a question about agriculture. Sure. Do you believe Congress has a responsibility to protect family farms from corporate concentration in the food supply chain?
Yes, I do. I think that right now Kentucky's losing 291 acres a day.
Oh,
right.
Oh my gosh.
It's not a farm, right? They're not losing in one spot. It's just 2 acres here and 3 acres here, right? Those are being sold, and they're not all being bought up by agriculture businesses. Some of them are being, turned into business spaces or industry or warehouses, but a lot of it is being bought up by mega corporations who own so much of our agricultural industry, and we really have to work on that, as well as the fact that a lot of even small family farms are partnered with a larger corporation, right? They get benefits and systems and whatnot, but then they're kind of beholden to those corporations and those interests and the way that they wanted to deal with the advancement of their space, rather than the impact that small family farmer would have, right? I think that we should have a national generic seed bank, so that farmers starting at the smallest farmer and going upwards are able to buy seeds for the crops they want to own, right? Mm-hmm. And so I hope that I can give you, this big handful of seeds and never see you again, because these are your seeds. And now you have them. A lot of the benefit structures start at the top and they work their way down. The big bailouts that they just gave go straight to the top farmers and then work their way down. So small farmers see them the least, and they're just paying off the bank. They're not, they're just keeping their head above water. They're not benefiting from that structure. I think that farming is a public service. So if we started, again, I'm happy for more Medicaid expansion and like this consideration of including everybody in healthcare. And when I talk to farmers, one of the big things they have when it comes to retaining employees is healthcare expenditures and benefit structures that other companies are able to offer that farmers aren't, because they're so stressed out already. And so if we could say like, hey, if you're a farmhand or you're a small family farm owner, you all can, like, even if you make a little more money over the poverty line, right? Like, right now it's like 400% for the ACA tax credits. You can make good money, and we still want to help cover your health care, right? Because I think what you do is a public service, and I need you to keep doing it. I don't need it to be like, oh, it's a rough year, I'm getting out. I need you to feel like, hey, the American people have your back. And that was the issue that we had when we looked at the beef buyout from Argentina, right? Is that when beef prices got high, we undercut American farmers and American cattle ranchers and said, hey, we want prices to be low for Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want more money in your pocket so that you can pay the farmers what they need to be paid, because that's what we should have done. Is like, oh, beef prices are high, let's put more money in your pocket by giving you a good wage and good stability, so that you can pay farmers what they're worth. We keep wanting beef prices to be $7, a pound, $6 a pound for prime beef, and that's just not where the world is anymore. It's just where our brain is. It's the same thing with a lot of prices of whole foods. They go up because it costs more for farmers. Inputs are higher. We don't have good right to repair laws. We definitely need good right to repair laws for farm equipment, for vehicles, for your devices. I remember when you used to be able to change the screen on your phone.
Right, I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you were able to legally open your phone? You know what I mean? Like, they'll just make the whole thing stop working as soon as you do. I know that if you open up like the Switch, like the Nintendo Switch, it breaks the console. The new one does, and it's just like, I get it. I mean, like, we don't need to be like breaking video games, but like, if you want to modify a thing that you own it. If you want to repair something, it shouldn't cost you, diagnostic equipment and thousands of extra dollars to go get a test for whether or not your tractor has X, Y, or Z broke with it. And then you can't even hire somebody to run it. Like that system. It's definitely a monopolization of the information technology that we have. And so I think that like establishing that would really change up a lot of things that we have going on in agriculture, to keep us in our small family farms.
So let me ask you this. We've got like 10 minutes left, right? Let's talk about your race. Not your race, but your campaign, rather. You're going against a representative who's been in office since 2016, right? What sets you apart from James Comer, and how can people support you in your campaign so that you can beat him?
I think the biggest issue is that most people think that Comer hasn't been available Even when I meet in areas that are like 80, 90% Republican, the people talk about how he comes in for an event and you don't know that he came in until he posts pictures about it later that he was there. And again, like I get it, we're busy, but you know, there's a lot of times when I've seen, you know, he's been in an event and there's been protesters, and you know he's got 10 minutes to go talk to those people, right? You know you have 10 minutes to meet with the other side, and hear their concerns, and we're not doing that, right? Like I always tell. I go to a lot of county party meetings for the Democratic Party, obviously, like as I'm making my way around the district. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm sorry to let you know, but if I get elected, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of Republicans, right? Because they're going to be the people who have a problem probably with some of my ideas and the things we're going along with, and we're going to be kind of back and forth. And you all believe me. You know what I mean? Like you all probably sit a lot more on the same side of the conversation. And if I'm doing my job right, I'm trying to make sure that they feel included as well, because you already feel included because you got your candidate in. And Republicans feel included right now, and a lot of people get to go up to DC or get to meet Mr. Comer when he's out in town if they're a Republican. But all the Democrats don't feel heard, right? And so I don't want that to switch, and then the Republicans don't feel heard and they feel left out in the cold about things and conversations while I'm pandering to my base. And that feels like a lot of times what's happening. And you know, he's also in charge of the oversight committee, right, which has a lot of implications, and it's very busy, but it also feels like that's where he spends all of his time. And he doesn't spend it talking about the district as much. Now there's some posts and things that come up that are about the district, but I feel like, you know, he hasn't ran a in-person town hall since 2019. And he said that he doesn't want to have a town hall in our district because everybody just has TDS, right? And that's again, that's how everybody feels about it. But you know,
that's just so dismissive. That's okay. Yeah, even if you feel challenged by the people in your district, you should still meet with them, you know?
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of meet and greets at like restaurants in like our rural towns. And I meet a lot of people who are very, very staunch Trump supporting Republicans, right? And I love that conversation, right? Like I love coming up and trying to like find the logic and like where we're at on the conversation, how we move forward. I usually let people talk a lot and I'm like, I hear you and whatnot while they're going through their rant early on, because usually they'll step in it where we're talking about the Constitution and they're not in favor of something that is part of the Constitution. And I'm like, well, hey, look, as long as I'm the more staunch constitutionalist on this issue, I'm good for us to disagree. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm this, and I'm a true patriot, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, well, then let's go through this, right? And once we do, like, people ask me for my card, and we get to have that kind of dialogue of like, hey, look, even if you don't want to vote for me by the end, you have two people who you think on both sides who care about you and who are actually working for things. Because normally we were like, oh, the other side's awful. Everything about them's awful. And we got to change that dialogue. And I think the people in office currently aren't going to help us with that. But like, hopefully in the future, we have good Republicans and good Democrats and good Libertarians and Green Party people who can work together and have a conversation across the aisle and be where we were in the 80s and 90s, you know, where, you know, Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton balanced the budget, right? Like they figured something out that worked. Not everything worked, but they felt like, you at least felt like it, like we were working towards something. Where John McCain's like, don't hate on Barack Obama just because he beat me, right? Like there's no, like he's like, we disagree on things, but I respect the person. And that's where we got to be, because I feel like I got good ideas. I don't want to run away with them. I'm grateful for the Republicans who want to hold the reins on all of these great ideas coming out of my head, right? I don't want them to actively be working against people's personal liberties. And that's what's happening right now. Right. And Comer is working in lockstep with the Trump administration, which I feel like is having that effect.
Okay. And we do have a question from the audience. Hey, Nookie, how you doing?
Hello, Ayana and Drew.
Hi.
My question tonight is, the one thing I see that I think the Democratic Party is failing on, or that leadership is failing on, is that there are no succession for unexpected life events into candidates. If you are elected, how would you implement a succession plan to make sure that the work that you are actively doing continues in the next person?
Yes, I think that the big goal that we need to be finding is every year when you have new people come in, like finding ways to onboard them onto the arguments that you're making, find coalition with people, because again, like I believe in term limits, so like eventually, I feel like I gotta get out of there. You know what I mean? And if you don't have a plan for that, if you're like, oh, I gotta be here for 20 years to make sure this is done because it's mine. And it's like, well, the idea doesn't have to be yours. Like, you don't have to get credit, just because you're not on the sponsor list anymore. It's not about getting recognition for these kinds of things. And so, yes, we need to have a good succession of bills and priorities, both in the Congress, but we also need to do a much better job of bench building our local and state conversations, right? Because like we do not do an appropriate job. Like I know, especially in a rural red area, right? Like we're not building up our next generation of leaders across the board, and in doing that, both again in nonpartisan and across the aisle considerations, like we're not going to get where we need to be if we're not able to have that better conversation. So yeah, I'm with you in establishing more rules and norms about moving bills forward in a way that is less about me and what I can do and how what my bill is going to affect, and more about the community at large and the congressional members establishing their roles over time, right? Because I understand like government seems to be frustrating, but it works well when it's a slow, positive, progressive pace. When it swings back and forth consistently and we're not establishing good rules and norms about how we behave, we don't do any good. We just keep getting rid of what the other side's doing. So, it's a bad system. So.
All right. Thank you, Nookie. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't get back to
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Drew, we've come to the end. Oh my gosh. I'm just sitting here listening to you. I love people who nerd out over politics. Not that you're a nerd. I'm just saying.
I'm definitely a nerd. I got like 4,000 books in my house, right? So my house is way too small for the number of books I have.
I love listening to people who know what they're talking about because they've read and they know all the sides and all the history, and I just love it. I want you to tell the people how they can support your campaign and remind them, even though you're not in the primary because you already won, remind them the date of the primary because people still got to vote.
Sure.
They got to vote for other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remind the people when and where and how and why.
Sure. So the Kentucky primary is May 19th. And I advise everybody to go and fill out their ballot, even if, in my district, I only have 3 state house candidates for the 35 counties that I have.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's 3 Democratic state house candidates. They're not running primaries, but there are things up and down the ballot that you should be able to vote for in the primary, and you should show up because the numbers matter, and it's your duty to go vote. My website is Williams for Kentucky or WilliamsForKY.com. I got every version of Williams for KY. So the 4 or FOR or Kentucky or KY all go to the same website. I appreciate visiting the website and critiquing policies. I build all my policies based on what I hear from the community and what I've done. I go home and do research about that kind of stuff. I'm big into making sure that I am very community focused and policy centered. Please join my social medias, right? Williams for KY1 on here, and it's John Drew Williams for U.S. House District 1 on Facebook. I try to make it very personable, and just showcasing what we're doing and how we feel about the day. Sometimes it's I'm very and like, sometimes I start out an event and for the first 35, 40 minutes, I don't get to talk to nobody. And then for the next hour and a half, I'm talking to everybody. And some of those posts, I'm just like, wow, like, I almost could have gave up and went home. But we stick it out and we try to be in spaces where, we're not normally welcomed.
Right.
And it turns out great. I've been to a lot of conservative churches, right? And people just want to hear they want you to hear their stories and to fellowship with them. And it opens up a dialogue that they don't normally see. And so, I'm just trying to be on the ground as much as possible, because I think that people need to see community servants again in these spaces.
Yep.
And we're not going to do that if I'm not just dead dog tired, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm just not worn out completely, I'm not doing my job for you. And you should take that from all your other politicians as well. They should look tired as can be, right? They should look like they are doing a bunch of sleepless nights, answering phone calls to you constantly. And I'm hoping that resonates. I think it has been resonating across my district. And so that's been really helpful. Of course, Mitch McConnell's leaving office, so we have an open Senate seat. So the Senate primary's been really big. And so that could have taken over for my U.S. House race right now, especially because I don't have a primary. But in my district, I feel like I'm the energy, which is really nice.
You are. So, I saw your social media. You are.
I appreciate it. And I definitely try to take an approach that is, the line in the sand is fascism right now, right? There's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to agree with me on every policy position and thing that we come up with. I got an 80,000 vote total from 2024 to overcome. So it's going to be a lot of middle of the road Republicans, right? Disaffected Republicans that we're going to have to talk to, and we're going to have to get them to understand, hey, we're just trying to fight for the Constitution. We're just trying to fight for some good rules and norms. We don't have to, next year we don't even have to go forward on a lot of these issues that we all disagree with. Let's just get the things that are 80-20. You know what I mean? Like, again, let's get money out of politics. Let's reestablish the Constitution. Let's get term limits in there. Let's make sure you trust your government again. And then maybe next year we go on to talking about, getting back into it once we've kind of cooled this high temperature area that we're in right now.
Right.
Because right now they're the top benefits when we're not connecting. And they've done a really good job of that. So
can you say that again? Can you remind people who benefits when the lower classes are warring?
The special interests and the billionaires, they benefit when we can't figure out a route forward. Again, we don't have to agree on how to get there, but I think a lot of the times we agree on what we want to do, and so, or where we want to end up. Everybody wants their family to be safe and to have good jobs and social and economic security. And we can get there if we have better conversations. And so that's kind of my goal. This has been a historically red district, right? But I think that times are changing. And if we're there to meet them, if you got to run for the district you're in, not the district you want to be in, and I think that a lot of good candidates across the country right now have been running. I've been watching a lot of them in the districts that they run in, right? And they've been building themselves for the people to represent. And so that's what I'm trying to do here as well.
All righty, Drew, thank you. This has been wonderful, 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 wonderful. I'm getting the signal that we need to close the doors, turn off the lights. Okay. So, Drew, we thank you so much for being here with us this evening and sharing your ideas and your platform and putting up with my shenanigans. It's not easy. It really isn't. But we appreciate you so much, and we hope that you I have no skin in the game, but I hope you win. I hope you win. I'm in Ohio. I can't do anything for you except tell the people to vote, 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 yeah. vote, people.
Yeah, just remember that this is James Comer's district. So if you have a problem with the Epstein files or the oversight committee, I'm the replacement. So
you're the replacement. You're more than the replacement. You're
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what.
they'll get somebody to replace him in the position, even if they keep
Right.
the house. Right. I'm assuming we're going to take the house in the fall, but he'd still be minority chair of that committee. So yeah.
So God willing, that happens, and looking forward to tomorrow because we're doing this again. We'll be here all week. We will have at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. We will have Ryan in Chosby at 7:00 Eastern. He's running for Arkansas State Legislature, District 24, followed by LaVon Barnes at 9:00 p.m., who's running for North Carolina State House, District 64. So we have two state legislature candidates tomorrow, so you can learn all about the fascinating world of state politics. Again, that's 7 p.m. Eastern with Ryan in Chosby, and 9:00 Eastern with LaVon Barnes. Let me make sure I got that right. Yes, 7:00 and 9:00. Again, please follow Mr. Williams on all the social medias. I sent you a follow here on TikTok. Make sure to support his campaign. And if you're in Kentucky and if you're in his district, make sure that you get it all worked out. You figure out what you're doing, and come to the best conclusion. Also, if you're interested in doing what I do, not as well as I do it, but doing what I do, you can DM OVC and let them know you're interested in becoming a moderator so that you can grill these candidates. We have so many candidates scheduled, so very little people to do this job. So if you would love to do that, become a moderator, please send us a DM if you are interested. And again, join us here tomorrow. We are OVC, Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like John Drew Williams, and ensure every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Again, we thank you for joining us. To the audience, thank you so much for the questions and the engagement. Remember, your vote is your power. Everyone have a great evening. Take care. Bye.